You should be headed towards an island off the northern coast. The terrain's pretty rough, so be careful.
The island has another island attached to it.
Yes, it has several, actually.
How irritating.
What?
The...
Then at least we may be able to find out what happened in New Jerusalem, why she came here. But I don't think she left the island. I think she's still here, waiting for us to make the right choices. It would be nice if something good happened for once, wouldn't it? I think every single human being is completely unique, and every instance of consciousness is a miracle. The more of us there are, the more alive the universe is. And the more we all interact with each other, the more complex the life of the universe becomes. So I believe that people are a fundamental good. I don't believe we're all flawless, but I think every one of us matters precisely because nothing else does. Okay. How many robots does it take to change a light bulb? Replacing a light bulb is a waste of resources, and the founder would be outraged. Herman didn't seem to think so. Could be, yes, of course. All technology has the potential to be misused, from fire and the wheel to whatever makes these particle clouds. But that doesn't mean it has to be. In the principle of it, no. It's not just that I believe humanity is fundamentally good, although I do. It's that I think sentience is the foundation of everything else. What's the point of stars and galaxies, of hills and forests, without someone to perceive them. But my faith that we can actually grow up, that we can break out of these loops and take control of our destiny, that's something I struggle with every single day. Herman, honestly, I think he makes people feel safe. The world beyond our walls is frightening. Human history is full of failures and disasters. It's easy to look at that and recoil. Herman offers a vision of the future that feels contained, manageable. For a little while, no. Everyone needs periods of rest. But as a permanent choice, yes. I think it's regression, decay. Because they refused to grow up. They refused to take control of their lives. They let bureaucrats and financiers determine their destiny, and those people could not think beyond themselves, beyond the tiny, insignificant moment they were trapped in. Their technology could have saved them, but what really failed them was their imagination. Athena was always trying to understand the reality underneath what we perceive, the objective truth. That's why she was capable of leaving the simulation. And even after she was free, she never stopped trying to understand more. I suspect her research took her another step closer to understanding the truth. And such steps always challenge our conception of the universe. But that's the wonderful thing about science. We can adapt our views to the evidence. In the sense of an interventionist deity? No. I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but it's not something I personally believe. But I do think there is something genuinely sublime in this universe, and it's right in front of us. Consciousness. The fact that this sense of self is even possible, that an arrangement of matter can produce a self-aware mind? Think about it. It's a fundamental property of the universe, an unbreakable law that matter has the inherent capacity to become more than the sum of its parts. That is the definition of transcendence. She did, yes. Some people in New Jerusalem choose to live in family units, although usually that involves marriage or equivalent ceremonies, not having children. You could say that Athena was a kind of mother to us, and Cornelius a kind of father, but it's not quite the same.
Hello, 1K. I sure did. Not as well as Byron, but she was still around when I was born. I remember she came and talked to me after New Alexandria, told me how sorry she was. I never blamed her for that. It wasn't her responsibility. A lot busier than it is now. My most defining memory is that it was extremely noisy, because something was always being built. Got annoying after a while. For some reason, we'd convinced ourselves that New Jerusalem wasn't enough, that we needed another city. We thought it would be easier the second time around. All it takes is a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of ignorance, and people die.
further insights on the particle clouds, Melville?
To be honest with you, Byron, I feel like a caveman trying to study Bose-Einstein condensate. I'm seeing unknown particles whose every property violates the laws of physics, apparently capable of being controlled and recombined into just about anything. It's ridiculous.
Maybe someone in New Jerusalem can figure it out.
Sure, just give them another 1,000 years. Been watching you solve these puzzles, and this body replication tech is incredible. It just casually blows up the very foundations of our society. You can say that again. Making even just one of us is bloody hard. We're not like toasters. You don't just weld together a couple of wires and a motherboard and call it a day. Not to mention how hard it is to even find some of the materials. And this thing just, poof, new human. It was. Or was it? And even if it was, sorry to be heretical, but does it matter? If we can figure out how this works, we can finally, easily create more people. We can grow. We can expand. We can build a real civilization. Isn't that worth pursuing? Look, yes, large amounts of people can cause problems. But even the problems they cause are interesting. Because without people, the world is boring. I'm not even saying there isn't some planetary limit, but I've done the maths. It's in the high billions, not a measly 1,000. Anyway, we all need to think about what this means. Glad you and I are more or less on the same page.
This body replication technology is proof of just how vital this expedition is. We may not know how it works and what its limitations are, but the technology itself isn't even what really matters. What matters is to expand our imagination, to realize that other futures are possible. I'm glad you see it that way too, 1K. After all, the world is better with you in it, isn't it?
Miranda is the founder's daughter. It's still kind of blowing my mind. She came all the way out here, left everything she had behind, and created a new life. Why do you think she did that? Miranda is certainly amazing, at least from what she sounds like. I can imagine that it must feel very special to be her parent. On the other hand, we're not like ancient humans. We're not born as babies. Would you have preferred to have a family? He did, didn't he? He remembers what it's like to be part of a family. The first companions were everything to him. I'm not sure, to be honest. This is all so surreal. Walking around here is so peaceful, but it's also, I don't know. One moment I feel inspired, the next, kind of creeped out. Our ancestors relied heavily on fossil fuels for energy generation, which released a lot of carbon dioxide. This caused the atmosphere to trap more heat, which changed the planet's overall climate. The effect continued even after they were gone, and these low-lying areas were flooded. I've seen a lot of places like that. No, I never did. I would have loved to. Nope. You know, people throw around the word awesome a lot. I probably do it too, but I think what we saw in there is the proper meaning of the word.
Yes? Of course I did. She and Cornelius were both there when I was born. Neath was just starting to take over back then, and they were still showing her the ropes. Busy. There was always another problem to solve. Did you know that she never upgraded her body? Always prioritized everyone else. That's the kind of work ethic I wish more people had. I suppose so. For me, living is doing. But I understand that other people have more varied needs. I've never felt the need for a partner as such. I've met a lot of people who do. Athena and Cornelius, Atal and Damien, Sarabai and Hypatia. But that's not really for me. So far, at least. But I do have social needs, like anyone. What I like is a pleasant buzz of humanity. Not too close, not too far. Something I can be part of without having it get in my face all the time. The data stream overloads. Yes, they could. There are safeguards to prevent that from happening, but these aren't exactly carefully controlled circumstances. It's hard to predict. Our brains are absurdly complicated, which is why it's so hard to make more of us. Maybe she just got sick of things breaking all the time. As far as I can tell, anything, which is insane. I used to think it was the only safe way forward. Keep things simple and under control. Now I'm not so sure that ever made sense. She's so innocent and full of wonder, it should make me want to retch, metaphorically speaking. But I'll admit, she's sort of charming.